Alright, in this video I'm going to go through the process of creating a point feature class from a GPX file. Now the standard GPX file is what is known as a GPX format, and virtually every GPS, including your cell phone, will export in this generic format. Some of the higher end GPS will also have proprietary options. For example, Trimble will export initially as an SSF format. That is their format, and then once it has been differentially corrected, you can get it to GPX format, or you can, again, they have an export option for the generic GPX. So I would encourage you, generally speaking, to have your output in GPX format. Now what you're looking at right here is in fact what a GPX format looks like in the notepad. In other words, you can open it, and in fact we can see right here that in fact there is a latitude and longitude and an elevation right here, and we also have a timestamp. And so this is the information in fact that we would need to deal with this. This happened to have been produced by one of the students in class, and this is in WGS 1984. That is the fairly standard uniform GPS datum. So I'm going to close that, and in Arc, if we're going to do this in ArcGIS, you're going to actually need to use two tools from the toolbox. So the first one we need to do, again, is open up your toolbox. If you're not familiar with that, here's the icon right here. You're going to click on that. It will open up your Arc Toolbox window. And then what we're going to do, and again I'm just going to go through these, you're going to go to the Conversion Tools option, and we're going to go to From GPS. And in the GPS option, you'll notice the GPX2 feature. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to open. I'm going to move this into our window here. Here is the tool option. It's a relatively straightforward tool option, but I'm going to select my GPX file, and you'll notice here it is right here. And we're going to, actually I'll do a different one here. We're going to do this one. And it will load it, and then it will typically write initially to your default view, but I'm going to put this into, again, our iDrive folder. And you'll notice that because the GPX file includes its datum, you don't have to set anything. But again, we're going to put this into our week 5, and again we're going to output it as a feature class. Now you could output it in a different way, but we're going to put it in here. And again, this happens to be, we will call this Gilder, and we're going to put that in. And you'll notice is that once we do this, I'm going to click OK. And it's a very quick tool, generally speaking, to run that. And what we will then see is once the tool is run, notice it's thinking right here. It's going to take just a moment for it to add. And then the output, there we are. And this happens to be, again, a series of points. Now, if we open up the attribute table to our points, what you'll notice is that it's stored as a point Z because in fact it has elevation. Elevation has been recorded here. The timestamp is here, and the date. You'll notice this is a relatively old set of data. And so again, we have our information over into a feature class. Now the other thing that you may want to do, you'll notice that in fact these were points that were recorded from a student walking the quad on campus. And so one of the things that you may want to do is this exists as a point feature class, but we actually want it to be a line. And so in fact, if you were with a GPS and you wanted to create a line feature, that is a trail or a loop, what we could actually do in this case, and I'm going to close the conversion tool here, you can actually use the data management tool. And again, this is a way of making feature classes. And what we're interested in here is taking these points, and what we are going to do is under the feature, so again I'm in data management and features, and what I want to do is go from points to a line. Now, it's important to note that your points have to have a sequential field. In other words, a field that tells which point comes first and which point comes last. And so I'm going to click on points to line, and I'm going to say I want to input my points, and again I'm going to output them to my feature or to my geodatabase, and again what I'm going to do is call them the same thing but now with underscore line. Now the next thing that I have to do though is put in a sort field. Now it would be possible if I had different sets of points to use one field to classify different pieces of line, if you will, and one to do the sort. But the sort field is in fact how the points are organized. And typically with GPS, the date timestamp is what you would want to use. So that's what I've put in here. Since I'm only producing one line, I'm going to leave the line field open or empty. And now again, I'm going to hit my OK button. And the tool will run for just a moment. And what we get out at the end, I'm going to turn off our points, now we can see this, and there's our line. We have a line feature, and if I open it up, you'll notice that now it's simply one line. It has a length because it's in geographic coordinates, those are actually in decimal degrees, but you'll notice it's also a polyline Z because in fact the line stored its elevation at each vertex. So it's fairly straightforward to make GPS points from a GPS file, GPX file, and to turn those points into a line. So again, what we used, just to review quickly, we used first, in terms of the conversion tools from GPS, GPX to feature, and then within the data management tools, feature points to lines. Okay, that's it for this video. Next time we'll be talking about actually editing, creating features from an image file.